All right, and we're live. Wait for it. All right, welcome to the live, everyone. So quiet in here. It's weird. Hey Google, volume up. Is it picking anything up from it? Wow, that was loud. All right, let's get started, shall we? So, we are back in Roblox Studio today for the testing of Color Tycoon, Rainbow Tycoon. Sorry. So, how we do? Why is it not working? Okay. Well, it will be fine either way. So, all today is doing exactly what I'm about to do. Just probably going to lag out Streamlabs OBS so much. Anyway, yes, we are playing the game today. Which is not going to freak Streamlabs out because there's just not that much stuff to do on the screen. So the reason that Streamlabs will lag out is because of the fact that essentially a game like Fortnite has a ton of pixels moving around at once. Nearly every pixel is changing at once because you could have a bullet flying past you or you could be running. And without an insane graphics card that you probably can't get in a laptop, it struggles quite a bit because of the fact that the pixels are changing and it can't keep up with it. So currently our stream is running at about 20 frames per second, which is pretty good. You ideally want it running at about 60 frames per second, ideally. But I think the way to think about that is if you look at what we're doing here, lagged a bit in the beginning, but like my YouTube studio thing says excellent stream health, and that was 4 minutes ago that I got that notice. And there haven't been any notices since, which is really, really good. The reason that it is so good is because that's when it started, but it also lags a bit when it starts because it's overcoming that initial transferring everything, stuff like that. With the Roblox Studio, you got the toolbox over here. That's staying stationary. You've got the toolbar up here, which can move, but for the most part, staying stationary. You've got the Explorer, again, can move, staying stationary, but when it does move, it's not that many pixels changing. And same thing with the properties, and of course the command bar. So really, the only thing that's changing is the game preview. So it's not like it's all moving at once. It's more like what it's more like is I'm trying to find the right way to explain this. What it's more like is it's more like if the best way to explain this is quite weird. Um, the best way to explain it. I don't even know what I'm explaining. Whoops. So, anyway, the last episode, episode 7, was, testing. Oh, Happy New Year, everyone. But the last episode of this series, episode 7, was all testing. That's what this episode is going to be. And we are aiming for around a 1 hour to 1.5 hours of live content. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm using, so YouTube has been updating their systems lately, which is good. They need to iterate new systems because I've had a couple issues with their live streaming systems. But their most recent thing is Live Control Room. Now, I don't have a good way to get a preview of the Live Control Room to you guys. Let me change our subscriber goal color real quick. It needs to be updated. I forget what I was saying. Oh, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Sorry, guys. Our stream's gonna lag a bit. They now made it so that in order to edit the subscriber goal, you have to go into you have to actually go into the thing on a web browser, which makes it significantly harder. Here, I'm going to make it red for you guys. Go with the darker. Let's text color white. How's that? Oh, that looks awesome. Save settings. There we go. Shoot. I hit a button. I don't know what it did, but can't be good. So we'll see if that still stays. Okay, now that that's gone, we're gonna have another blip again. But we should be fine. So, yeah. What I really want to capitalize on this stream is that this is the process of creating a game. The first episode of this series was really just a little test for me to see, how good. That was weird. The first episode of the series was really just a little test for me to see, how well is my system working? What do I need to do to it to make it better? And I made it better, and we're still on episode 2. But we have, 8 or 9 different parts to episode 2, which is what makes it so fun. And I've got another 5 or 6 ideas. That's at 6:12. Okay. What's it now? Because we're running really, really well. I think there's just a delay. It'll probably update. Sorry, my stream thing is saying that the stream status is poor and that it can't get a good enough connection to provide a stable video. But I think that is just old news. I could be wrong, but I think it's just old news. Oh, guys, check out this feature. So, here's a feature called a chat box. So, I'm going to say something like, "Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the stream." Send. Now, I have no idea what it's going to do because I haven't tested this thing in a while. But Streamlabs should communicate with YouTube to provide a chat box. Now, I don't know how long that takes to update, but it will pop in at some point. It might have already popped in already. I might have just not been paying attention. So, view count, roblox to capture chat box. Yep, it's up there, so it'll pop up there at some point. It still says it's poor. Huh. Fascinating. We're still gotta research into that. So, I believe the first issue was right here when we bought the second floor. So, I believe the issue was the conveyor showed up, but none of the droppers showed up. So we need 6,000 for that conveyor. Okay. And yeah, guys, I'm fully on board with bringing live streaming series back. Because the live streaming series are so important. And the reason why they are so important is because it gives the fans and the YouTubers a thing that they have in common to connect with over. You know, you can be playing a video game, you can be doing whatever, or you can just be doing like a live Q&A session. It's all the same in that sense. So, yeah. That's the thing, is the droppers don't show up. So, now we're gonna freak out Streamlabs a bit. So, oh well. So, we know it takes about 14-ish minutes to get into the second floor. What we want is we want to go down to... Okay, so that's red. Orange. Conveyor 2. We need to pay attention to the way that is. O-R-A-N-G-E. Okay. That is not what we want. We want buttons. So now we want orange dropper 1. Dependency. Conveyor. So let's save that. And let's play that again. Huh. Okay, I'll keep note of that. So now we start again, and I can see if I can do this. Oh, workspace, Zednovs, Tycoon kit, Tycoons, black, currency to collect. Can I even do that? No. So 1,000. Still, okay. No, there used to be a way to cheat the system. But there is not a way now, so we are just going to have to play through this thing. And that is why these things take so long. Is because of the fact that's the reason why the testing process takes so long. So there is a whole process to making a game. There's the idea, making a game, a program, everything. The entire idea of that. The entire idea of making a game or coding an app. This is sort of like the engineering design process, but slightly different. The process itself is very, very similar. It's very, very similar, and you get this idea of a game you want to build, or an app you want to build. Let's just call it the idea. Then you have to figure out how you plan to build that idea. And it wasn't quite our case with this, but with the game, I did this in the wrong order, and by taking robotics, where it's not just Legos, it's actual parts, and it takes time to repair. I've learned this lesson over time. And that lesson is the real way to build something is you don't just build a thing and then test it. You test the program, the robot, the product. You test it as you go. Essentially, as soon as we finished the first floor, we should have tested it. As soon as we finished the second floor, we should have played through that. And then even after you've tested as you go, there's still a testing phase because there's still stuff that might not be quite right. You know? Even after we've tested it, we might decide that we don't like the design of the droppers. Or something of the sort like that. Hey, our stream is excellent in terms of health. Let's look at analytics. Ooh. Awesome. Stream settings we don't want to mess with. Okay. And the engineering design process is idea, research, something around sketching and design and sketching and planning, and then build, test, and repeat. The reason the repeat is in there is you don't just go. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Dinner's on the way. Just trying to make sure I can eat. Just trying to make sure I can talk and stream for you guys at the same. Not talk and stream, eat and stream at the same time. But you don't just go, oh, this program doesn't work. I guess I can't do it, and give up. That's not what you do. What you do is you look at the thing and you go, okay, where's that error? You go, where is the error that I made? And programs like Android Studio will tell you what kind of error it is and where, in what program it is. And you have to go out and figure out how to fix that error. And that is the most important thing in something like this, is you need to be able to troubleshoot your own programs. Yes, there are programs that will help with that, but they will not do it for you. You know? It's an easy thing to say. I'm going to give this a shot. I don't really know how to do it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, that's an easy thing to say. A much harder thing to say and do is, I've never done this before. I'm going to try this, and I'm going to learn how to do it. That is a much, much trickier thing to do. And I think it's important that we do stuff like that. Because we don't learn unless we make mistakes. If we don't make mistakes, then we'll never learn. So at one point, yes, you want everything to work the first time. You want the game to be perfect. But like that, I have no idea, and that might be a recurring issue. I didn't check that. So while we're sitting here waiting for money, I'm going to go through and check that. So it's red, orange. Yeah, like yellow isn't going to work. So I'm just going to stop now and fix that stuff. Let's just go through and fix some of the stuff. So conveyor. Object. Yeah, object will be fine. There's yellow. Okay. Red, don't need to worry about. Purple. Conveyor. I probably spelled conveyor wrong, but orange. Green needs fix. It's stuff like this that will let us troubleshoot this game efficiently. It will let us troubleshoot efficiently because okay, so now what we do is we scroll down to here. Those are ERs. Okay. Okay, those are good. So, red we don't need to worry about. Orange we got. Yellow we got. Green we got. Blue we got. Purple. Okay. So we should be good. So now we're going to hit play. And I'm going to start from the ground up. This is why you don't wait to test until the very end. Because you will end up wanting to... You will end up not enjoying yourself. We had someone on our robotics team, not mentioning names, who is extremely good at programming. Like, I consider myself to be pretty good, but he outdoes me by about 100 times. And we thought he would be a really valuable member to the team because he could direct our programming team into a totally different direction than I could as programming leader. I'm like, okay. He's actually invested. Well, he wrote everything from home, and we ended up getting into an argument for the purpose of judging, so we had to call it civil discourse, but it was really an argument. It really was. Our surprise fights didn't break out. We ended up getting into arguments about what programming software to use, because I'm in a league called FTC, stands for First Tech Challenge. And it's a funny thing, because we were originally using blocks, then this guy came on the team. Blocks and on-bot Java are given to you by FTC. FTC has a robot controller app and a driver station app that can communicate via Wi-Fi Direct. It is really, really nice. The system works great. And blocks and on-bot Java are given to you by the official FTC people, which is also really, really nice. Save you so much trouble. So you can use those two, or you can use Android Studio. Android Studio is not only for Androids, it's not only for the FTC stuff, it's for developing Android apps. Like, I've been working in it to try to develop an Android app to score the FTC rounds. And I'll probably be up fairly late tonight trying to do that. And I'll certainly work on it some more tomorrow. Oh, I might go live at some point with Max Dark Hunter tomorrow. I might. Or I might wait and do that on on the channel that I test everything on. Because that is a test channel. It's meant for that kind of stuff. But he was doing everything from home, and he's like, oh yeah, this'll work. And it didn't work, and it gave a build error because he did it from home and didn't have a config to look at when he was defining the variables. So there's something in the config that wasn't right, so it wasn't running. I was like, yeah, we fixed the issue, it should work now. And we went to run it, and it didn't work. It went backwards instead of forwards. It did all this, and we ended up switching over to blocks because it was me versus this guy and his friend that was also working in Android Studio. Or it was me and our team captain, who has been not assigned to a team, essentially goes around, makes sure that all of the teams are being productive So that we're not sitting on our phones and playing Mario Kart. Yes, we did get close to doing that once. So, yeah, it was me and him versus these two guys. And we were split 2 and 2. So, we had to go to the whole team and, present our cases and stuff like that. And they're like, well, what relevance does the team have in this? It's the programming team that matters. And I'm like, the team wants results. The team as a whole wants results. Yes, we can get results in Android Studio, but we haven't gotten results in Android Studio. Which is why we are not as keen on using it. And the deal we made with them was, look, you guys want to use this. Figure out a way. And one of the arguments for blocks was it's easier to start people programming in a visual language like blocks rather than a not verbal, I don't know what the word for it is. But rather than a written language. It's not verbal, it's not oral. Actually, it might be verbal. But oh, hi Fuzzy. Sorry, cat came in. What I was saying is, it's easier to tell someone to drag this block out. This is a block that makes the robot move forward. Drag this block out and put in a negative value, and you make it drive backwards. It's much easier to say that than to say you need to import this package by using only code. And it's like import Qualcomm something something something. It's not exactly an easy thing to type in. And when I was in FLL last year, I didn't exactly have a choice. FLL's program is Lego Mindstorms, and they use a Lego EV3 robot. Now that, I'm not going to argue with. Because you've got no choice there. What Lego did was they released their own FLL, partnered with Lego to release their own robot that will now have things like, I don't know. It will have programs you can use that it has multiple programming languages. It has like Python, Java, C#, C++. It has all of those kinds of things. So FTC has some real potential with a program like Android Studio. Now that FLL is migrating off of the blocks and starting to get into actual code. Which is honestly quite exciting. So, it was a nice heated debate. My teammates would tell me not to say that, but I'm gonna tell the truth there. So it was a heated debate between the two teams. And we had to go to the team, and the team wanted results. You get results by saying, okay, yes, we have this program that we've been working on for 3 weeks, and we can't get through this one error. We haven't tested it yet, so we don't know if when we get through this one error, it'll all be fixed, or if it'll all just be totally the same. That was option 1. Option 2 was, yes, we have this program. that has all of the autonomous fully done, but it doesn't work, and we've been stuck on this one error for 3 weeks. We have another 3 till competition. We can't afford to not have to have an only partially working autonomous. That we don't even know if we can troubleshoot day of competition. And yes, we realize in blocks we might be starting over, but it's easier to use so that if people that aren't on the programming team are there and want to help out, they can sort of understand it easier than they could with just Java. And stuff along the lines of, yes, we might be starting over, but we need to be able to test one piece at a time, and we can't do that with the Android Studio code right now. So, it's a tricky thing. We ended up deciding to go with blocks, and the promise we made him was go with blocks for our first competition. Second competition rolls around, teach everyone how to use Android Studio, and we can look at using that. Look at that, it works. So, but we haven't seen them prepare anything else. And as soon as we decided we were going to stick with blocks, from one of the guys, I got, well, I don't think I'm going to do programming anymore. I think I'm going to join build. I don't want to do blocks. Alright, fine. Go join build team. Like, I'm not going to soften up. That's essentially what I'm saying. That's the mean way of putting it. The nicer way of putting it would be, we made a decision, and that decision is not going to be changed by threats. And later that same day, the same guy comes up to me and goes, we're going to keep working on the Android Studio version, and if it works, we're going to use it. And I went, no, we're not. He's like, yes, we are. It works. Like, we haven't seen it work. You can say it works all at once, but until we see it work, it doesn't work. So, my entire point with this is, you don't do what I did with this game. You don't build a game and not test it along the way. Yes, testing it might be longer. Yes, it took us an hour and a half to build each level. But we could have easily just made that 2 hours and tested each level. Tested the game as we went. And we could have saved ourselves from some of the, okay, it's not working, the droppers aren't appearing. We now need to go and scout what we did wrong. Because it could have been in a dropper script starting in floor 3, and we would have had to go and modify every single dropper. And there's 16 per floor, so floor 3, 16, 4, 5, 6. That's 16 times 4. So do the math, because I don't feel like doing it. And, but, I mean, when we go back on January 6th. Our next competition is February 8th. So, when we go back, we'll have practice January 7th, because that's a Tuesday, and we practice on Tuesday and Saturdays. And it looks like we might be having practice this Saturday. Just to get some ideas out on the board about, a new intake-outtake system and stuff like that, because our old one just sort of broke. I'll explain that in a minute. we're only gonna have a month, and with snow days, we don't know if we're even gonna have 8 practices. We might only have 6 or 7. So we need to look at our priorities and go, okay, what do we need to do in that time? And to help things, our coach is leaving and flying across and moving across the country. Um, so now one of our mentors is stepping in as coach. And, you know, we're only going to have a month, if that. We need to look at our priorities. Our intake outtake system is broken. Yes, we can pick up the blocks and move them to the other side with our hook for autonomous, but we're putting so much strain on that hook that we lost in semis because of it. I'm not kidding there either. We lost in the semifinal round because our hook broke because we put too much pressure on it and the screw unscrewed itself. And like we need to figure out a better method of attaching the hook, and we need to figure out what our new intake outtake system is going to look like. Is it going to be a newer version of our old one? Our old one was a ramp made out of cardboard that had servos picking it up, and the servos broke a day before competition and we didn't have time to fix them. So what our team as a whole needs to decide is, do we want to replace those servos with motors and get an actual piece of plexiglass instead of cardboard so that there's not as much bend and it won't have as much trouble lifting it up and stuff like that? Or do we just scrap the entire thing and come up with a new intake outtake system? And that is not an easy task to decide on, because with only a month, if we go for a new intake outtake system and decide to do stacking, that takes up that month. But if we decide, okay, we can come up with a new method for the hook in 2 or 3 hours, take another hour or so to build it, there we go, we have a more reliable hook. Now intake outtake, do we still want that ramp? Do we say the heck with that ramp? And do we just add a little pole that can pick it up with a small piece of plexiglass underneath to hold the brick? What ways do we do that? What are our scouting questions? Stuff like that. And again, it's not an easy thing to do because we can easily take up 3-4 hours sketching. And our Saturday practices are 3 hours, and our Tuesday practices are an hour and a half to 2. Which is a hard thing to manage from a team standpoint and a coaching standpoint. Because in one sense, you've got in one sense, you say, oh, we've got a month, we're good. And then in another sense, you go, well, we got a lot to work on, and that's going to take time, but we only have a month. So it's a tricky thing. Yeah. Alright, I'm back. Ooh, it smells good. Food delivery. Um, but yeah, so that'll be fun. So in terms of our channel, we're currently sitting at 31 subscribers. That sign is wrong. I haven't updated it in a while. So, you see how those things are like falling from the ceiling? That's my goal. That's why I put that thing in there. Is because we should be able to, when this whole thing is all said and done, we should be able to stand here and watch like 3 or 4 colors just fall in. It should be like the most satisfying thing ever. Um, so, um, yeah, as I was saying, in terms of stuff for our channel, gosh, I really went nice and over the top there. I think I started to get a bit more reasonable towards the end. In terms of stuff for our channel, we're sitting at 31 subscribers. Ideally, I want 50 or 60 before I start bringing in new series, like some Minecraft live stream series and some, coding series and stuff like that, because I'm sitting at 31 and 1 or 2 watch the live streams. If we're sitting at 60, a couple more people might actually watch those live streams. So, yeah. But I've been working on I've had this idea for a while, and I'm gonna start writing the plans for it later tonight. A Google Drive crash course. So there are so many of these clouds out here. There's Microsoft Office, there's Google Drive, there's iCloud Drive, and probably a few more unofficial ones. But I'm going to try to do a crash course for all 3 of them, separately, of course. And the reason I mention that is so many people need help with Google Drive and Microsoft Office and the things like that. So by building a crash course for those, I'm allowing the fact that I can get more views off of it, because so many people need help in that field and things like that. I'm essentially getting free views. Hang on, guys, I'm gonna eat dinner, so if you guys hear eating sounds, that's why. So, yeah. But stuff like that and stuff like a crash course on Microsoft Office, it'll probably be, 5, 6 episodes that will come out over the course of Um, like, it'll probably be an episode once a week. And, I'll film it all at once. That is one of my goals to do before school goes back, but I don't think I'll get to it. Just realistically. Um, but one of the reasons I've been trying to work in Streamlabs is the way Streamlabs works, you start out with a blank screen, and you add different elements. It can capture different windows, different games. You can add, views and different elements. You can multi-screen stuff. Stuff like that. Because what I can very easily do is I'm going to need to test with it. But I can probably very easily do a desktop capture and I can stream my phone to my laptop and do a capture of that. And right there, you have a setup for something like a Google Drive. So, and if you guys are like, oh no, is my video frozen? No. No, it's not. Um, the video is not frozen. It's just, this is a very, very tight, not tight. I made the prices so high, and that is a type of strategy from Roblox creators. Is you make the price of a specific item so high that you force people to buy your game passes for money. And that is not the strategy I was going for, but ends up being the strategy I went for. Um, so, yeah, it is actually a strategy. And things like Jailbreak, you get VIPs and stuff like that. It's incredible. But because I made the thing so insanely expensive, this is a lot of just waiting around for enough money and stuff like that. And the process of building a game like this, it takes a while. It really does. Because you're trying to build a game, but yet something that looks cool. And something that is playable. And stuff like that, so there are so many different elements to it. It's very difficult, but very fun. Also, let me know in the chat if you guys have any questions. I will do my best to answer them. But dinner is very good. Sorry I'm being silent. I'm eating. It's hard to talk and eat at the same time without sounding incredibly disgusting. That was not at all what I meant to do. But oh well. The next one is 40,000. Okay. For the record, if you guys want to know, dinner is pizza bagels. For me, at least. I don't know what you guys eat. That would be kind of creepy. So, I think this might be a long stream because we're only 2 floors in. We're sitting at an hour. That is also because we had to stop and test, stop and fix errors multiple times. Oh, sorry, I hit not yours. I hit the mic. So we're almost at like 120,000. So another couple thousand, and we'll head up and finish, hopefully, the second floor. The radio station I'm listening to is doing a medley of like all 50 top songs of last year. It sounds really, really cool. Alright, now we're at like 160,000. So, should be plenty to get what we want. Okay, so now we just need a couple more thousand. And we are so close to finishing the second floor. I don't think the third floor is going to take this long. Put us at almost 80,000. We need around 95,000. Well, I'll just finish this pizza bagel, and then we'll use however much money we've collected. Okay, let's get the upgrader. We didn't do that as we got into the higher floors, so 25,000 for a ladder. Am I insane? Oh, 40,000. Okay, this will be the moment of truth. Is do the yellow ones show? Okay, so back to me talking. So, what to talk about? Oh, yes, other ideas. So, I think the next. No, let's not talk about other ideas yet. Let's talk about the next step in the process. So, technically, it should have been build and test. It should have been build and test, then repeat. I don't actually have like a diagram of the engineer's process with me, although I probably should. Um, it worked. Yeah, we're making this stuff really cheap now. That's good. So, in this game process, um, we're testing to make sure everything works. The worst thing you want to do is put a game out on the Roblox market that you don't know if you don't want to put something out there if you don't know for sure that it's working. If you haven't played through it, you don't put it out there. I'm pretty sure there's an actual job at places like Nintendo and some of these big game developer companies that is a game tester. I'm pretty darn sure there is a game tester job. Because you need people to test these things. You can't test them. You can't publish them without not testing them. Because if we had just published it, hadn't tested it, we wouldn't have caught that spelling error. And nobody would have been able to play the game past the first floor. So, by spending that extra half hour, 45 minutes, we saved our entire game. Pretty much. So, that is why the testing stage is so important. Important, not imprudent. I don't know what that is. Important. It is so important because if you don't test it, you could have messed something up in the very beginning, or you could have messed something up in the very end. And you wouldn't know. Because you haven't tested it. If you don't test things, then all of a sudden, you don't know if it works or not. So, you could be prone to a massive failure of the game. Because if you can't even get through the first level of the game, how are you going to get through the entire game? Exactly, you're not. And that is what I find really important about the testing, is so many games out here that just don't test. You know, I've played games that people just churn out like every 2 weeks or something. On Roblox even. And it just yeah, it bugs me because the games don't work most of the time. It's not like, oh, this one specific game doesn't work. Oh well. It's like all of them that do this don't work. And it's incredibly frustrating. Because you go to play a game and it looks really cool, and it just doesn't work. Like, you can't play it because it doesn't work. So, yeah, and the stream hasn't had any problems since we went through our little blip earlier with the subscriber goal. I'll have to keep that in mind that I can't edit that stuff during a stream anymore. So the next step for this game would be if we finish testing this stuff. Like, if we get through all 6 levels and everything works perfectly, then the next step would be not multiplying, adding the other classes or instances or whatever the heck you want to call them. See, up here it says for hire. It has black. That is a class, or a team, as it gets called in here. But there's only one currently, and that would mean only one player can play this game at a given point. We want more than one player to be able to play this game at once. You know, we want groups of 4 or 5 to come in here and play it. So that would be the next step. And then the step after that is not testing those classes, because you're not rebuilding this class. What you're doing is you're copying and pasting this class that works, that you've tested, and you know works. Hang on, head itch. And you've tested this team. You've tested the class. You've tested the stuff in it. So what you're really looking at is you're really just copying, pasting the thing, changing the name of the team, and then the team number. Or team color. It's not like you have to do anything incredibly advanced. It's as simple as, changing a class. It's as simple as changing a name and a color and moving something. That is as simple as it gets. And, it's one thing to say, oh, that's really simple. Or it's one thing to say, oh, that sounds really simple, and then for it to be really simple. This is that it's really simple thing. Because it is so simple. So simple. To literally change the name of an item. When you change the name of an item, it immediately becomes easier. Than rebuilding something from scratch. Because if we were to rebuild this entire Tycoon 4 more times, we would have to go through and test all of those, and we've been going for 1 hour and 17 minutes. We will probably go for 2 hours, if not 2.5. And, yeah, I don't want to spend 2 to 2.5 hours testing multiple things, because it just gets boring at some point. You wouldn't be able to test this, and the great thing about Roblox Studios, you can copy and paste it very easily. Okay. And the great thing about floor number 3 being cheaper is, one, it is quicker to play through, and B, these are worth more for less than the last ones. So, these are worth 40 apiece. The orange ones were worth 30 apiece. So you're getting more money for less money, essentially. And yes, I probably went a bit too high on the values, but is it worth going through and changing everything? No, it probably isn't. Because in the end, you want people to buy the game passes. You know, back when I was doing Roblox for YouTube, like not this, but I was like my main series were Roblox. I really wanted Robux, but I didn't want to spend $10 per game. That's like $50 right there, and I'm not committed enough to this channel to pour a ton of money into it. You know, and I'm not old enough that I have a job yet, and I don't have my own bank account yet, and stuff like that. So, I don't really want to go pouring other people's money into this channel for a view or two per video. So, that is why some of the stuff that is happening is happening. Well, no, never mind. You know, let me drop that right there. Like Fortnite and the other games, like The Witness and stuff, those normally cost a good amount. But I got them for free because I looked at those deals, and when I had enough to start a couple of series out of them, I did. I really did. Because it's not like it's pretty darn easy to do, you know? It's not like I had to pay $200 for those games. It's like they were free. They could be mediocre, they could be excellent. And like Oxenfree was excellent. Like Oxenfree was one of the best games I've played so far. Now, yes, that game was quite creepy. It scared me a little bit, to be totally honest. Oh yeah, any Doctor Who fans thought the new episode of the new season of Doctor Who comes on in about a half hour on BBC. So, if you're a Doctor Who fan, be ready. Okay. So, let's see. Next dropper is 34,000. So, again, these droppers are cheap. You don't have to wait too long for them. Maybe a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Like, in the end, that right there is enough. So, you don't have to wait long for these things at all. Like, at all. Which is good. I don't know what I did on the next couple floors, but, you know, something like this is great. Because, you know what? Sure, it might take a while to do some things, but it might not take a while to do other things. So, you know. There we go. Okay. So, analytics, 8 playbacks. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm going through my YouTube live control room stuff. It's fascinating to go through and see all the stream stats and stuff like that. Oh, shoot. Total wrong thing. Oh well. Oh well. So, again, feel free to ask questions in the chat. I'm perfectly happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Oh, so I was starting to talk about this earlier. Ideas for the next game. Soda Tycoon, I know it's been done a couple times, but it's still fun, and in the end, we're not creating to try to create new stuff. I'm creating to walk you guys through the process and have fun, and talk to you guys, answer your questions. Stuff like that. Which is fun for me from a creator point of view. It is a blast to get to hang out with your followers on stream and stuff like that. And in the end, it's really a blast. Especially when you have more than 31 followers and you can get people watching the stream. People will be chatting in the chat and you can look at questions and answer them. I've got a good couple of games for the Nintendo Switch, so I can go through and I can maybe start a game review series, just like I have the product review. But I would be doing some of the I would be making a series out of some of the stuff that's on the Switch. But what Nintendo did was they made it so that you can't screen record stuff on the Switch, and there's no way of external streaming it. So you can't stream directly from there. So you have to spend like $125 on a capture card. Which, I'm sorry, I'm just not willing to do. Especially not at this point in the channel career. You know, if we're sitting here with 2.5 million subscribers, it's a different story. At that point, I can put a little bit of money in it to be able to play games on the Nintendo Switch. Like, stuff like that. And just, you know, I looked and the cheapest capture card I could find was $125. And I'm not spending that kind of money on this channel yet. I say yet because for all I know it could blow up and it could all of a sudden have like 1 million subscribers, but I don't think that would happen. Let's see. 50,000. Okay. We can make that. And see, the thing is, as soon as there's an issue, or as soon as we finish the game, the stream will end. I'll just make a note to myself saying, here's where the issue was. And we'll start this entire process again next episode. But if we play through the game this episode and there are no issues, then we move on to the next step, which is creating multiple teams, creating a spawn area, creating the pathway. Stuff like that. And just, yeah, that is the next step in the process. And if we don't find any bugs within the game today, then there are no bugs within the game at all. So we can move on to the next step in the process, which is, not that you guys would know, just because I haven't told you. But the next step is creating the classes. Then after that, you create a Game Pass UI, and you add the Game Passes and stuff like that. You add the Game Passes, you add developer items that people can buy with Robux, and the more people buy the items, the more Robux I get, which means, and, I still play Roblox now and then. Sometimes I'll log on and play some Jailbreak or win those games. And it would be nice to have some spare Robux to buy Game Passes with. But I'm not pouring money into this game. A game like Fortnite, people spend so much money on. Like, so much money. And I just don't get it. Like, it's a game. I get if you're one of, like, the big popular YouTubers and you have, like, a $4 million a year income. At that point, go ahead, spend, like, $100 or something. But a couple kids in my grade have spent, like, $200 or $300 on Fortnite. And the only money I spent on it was Season 9. Because I was $100 short of, not dollars, I was 100 V-Bucks short of the Battle Pass. That's it, and I maxed out the Season 9 Battle Pass. So I was able to buy the Season 10 Battle Pass, and I got far enough in the Season 10 Battle Pass to be able to buy the Chapter 2 Season 1 Battle Pass. And now I've gotten enough out of that to buy the next chapter, or the next season's pass. So, it's not exactly a chain per se, but at the same time it is. It's sort of like you buy one thing, and the only reason I got the Season 8 Battle Pass in the first place was because Season 7 had overtime challenges. That was a free Battle Pass. Like, that's the only reason I even had the Battle Pass, was I got it for free. No, right, we don't want to do that. We have 2 more droppers on this floor left. 3750, then 50,000 to upgrade the walls. There we go. Last one. Bam. Alright, that is 3 floors done. It looks like each floor takes about 15-ish minutes. So, let's see, 15 times 6. That's 90, so that's an hour and a half if we started in like 45 minutes. Yeah, we'll finish soon enough. Sorry guys, I'm tired. There we go. So I believe red and orange was an episode. Yellow was its own episode. Green was its own episode. Then blue and purple were... No, each one was its own episode after this. For 70... Why did I make it so expensive? I honestly don't know why I made it so expensive. So, yeah, we're gonna be here for a bit. Because we're only at 40k. We're so close. Hey, there we go. We're well above what we need to be. Okay. What? Why? Why did I make it 80,000 for a ladder? I'll have to change that. I'm just gonna make all of the ladders like 500. Maybe I'll make it going up in like increments of 500. I don't know. We'll do that after we finish this. So, we are now moving on to the 4th floor, I believe. So, that was 3 floors done. So, we'll finish floor 4, go on to floor 5, then floor 6, then done. Or if an error pops up in the middle of those, then we'll deal with that. Hang on a second, guys. Alright, I'm back. And that should be enough. Yep. So now we can go and look at this really, really atrocious price. Oh, it's only 85,000. Okay, that's honestly not bad. I was expecting way worse. Ooh, that's not bad either. Alright, what are we at now? 72? So we need about 13 more? Also, guys, let me know if you like these live streams because I enjoy doing them. I don't know if you guys like watching them at all because I know I only get about 2 people watching, but alright, guys, give me a second. Sorry, I'm Snapchatting with some of my friends. Ooh, nice. Okay, so probably go up by the thousands there, but those are also worth a lot. So, ooh, actually, we are really, really close there. Yeah, they go up by the thousands. Okay. I looked at doing teleporters, but it's not really worth it. I had a bunch of issues with teleporters before, so I'm not really too keen on going in the teleporter range again. See, what I should have done is I should have had like another game ready, but I didn't, so that's my bad. I am definitely getting tired. Okay, let's go get this next dropper. Mm, 90,000. Whew, we're gonna definitely be here a while. $79. We are so close, guys. Alright, there we go. We got us some buffer for the next one, too. $95. Oh my gosh. Why did we make it so high? The prices are fine. It's just, yeah. This is gonna take a while. See, guys, like I said, it's not actually that hard to get there. It takes maybe a minute, but it's like 15 minutes of floor at that point. 100,000. Walls are 75. Okay. 1,000. So close. Alright. Whoops. That's what you call falling off a building. Okay. So, we've got 120,000. So, we should be able to make it at least through this floor. That's 102,000. Okay. Okay. And see, guys, I'm only live streaming this because this is the process it takes to make a good game. Okay. Alright. No surprise. 6 is 104. I think this is going to be a really good game, and I know it's going to take a while to test. We probably going to be here going on 3 hours, but it'll be well worth it. Actually, at like the end of this floor, I'm going to end the stream. Let me type that in the chat. So, yeah, when this floor is complete, I'm gonna end the stream and I'm going to finish testing this on my own. Um, because the stream has been going for almost 2 hours. And there is a point at which it gets tiring for me to do this and for you guys to watch. Because I bet you guys are not very excited when watching this. So I will test the game and make sure everything is working so that in the next episode, which will probably be a nice week or two, or for all I know, it might be Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. But in the next episode, we will have a working Tycoon so that we can add the different teams and all will be happy. And I won't have to sit here another hour and talk into a microphone and do absolutely nothing. E. So I think I'm actually going to live end the live now. And the reason I say that is again because this is getting boring for me to do. And I will finish testing the game, but there's a little bit of this that has to be done off camera. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all of you